Recording in progress, share screen.
Yes.
Here we go. Let us get the party started. All right, I've got all these lovely faces here. Can you guys see the presentation?
Yep.
One moment, please. Present. There we go. You see one screen, right?
Yes.
Yay. This double screen stuff, I kind of never know. Let me move you guys over here. All right. Well, welcome everybody. For those of you that may not know me, Angela Inzarello with Impact Business Solutions. Yeah, James and I joined the chamber like 12 years ago. We got heavily involved in business education. So I chair the fabulous committee for business education. And we are very excited to have our Ask the Expert panel for health and wellness. And for those of you that may not have attended the other workshops this quarter, January and February, our theme was health and wellness. So the third program of the quarter is focused on our panel of experts talking. We're so excited. We're going to be talking about health and wellness relative to mental health, physical health, and nutritional health. So all the very core components of having a healthier life, and then of course a more productive life, because we've got to relate it to business education, right? So empowering productivity. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we're certainly not taking care of our business. So welcome everybody. Just a little bit of background, if you're not familiar, the Reston Chamber has a 501c3 organization, education foundation called Inspire. So this is where the business education falls under. So we are currently running one virtual workshop webinar per month on the second Wednesday, 8:30 to 9:30. And then the third month of the quarter, and in this case, March, we're doing our panel where we'll have an Ask the Expert on the overall theme of the quarter. So there's a networking opportunity. People usually stay at the end if you want to continue having a conversation. We usually will stay on for another half hour or so. So another great way to network. And then they're all virtual. They're being recorded, and you can find out more about the program. If you're interested in speaking, I can share with you the topics that we're looking at for the rest of the year. Our Q2 topic is business economic opportunity. Actually, and your partner, Alex, is going to be speaking from the EDA, talking about regional growth in the area. So we're excited for that. Also under Inspire, we had a big program this year called the Bizmaker Grant Program. And with that, it was Fairfax County businesses. And we had 3 grants that we offered. First prize, $15K, $10K, and $5K. And included in the money, the monetary grant, was also 12 months of mentoring. So I'm happy to announce our winners, which we also announced last night at Net Night. But our winners are in first place was the Pearl Project Institute, our very own Connie, Ruiz, Personal 20, and then Tech Skills Partner. So I want to give those guys a round of applause. And we're going to definitely have an opportunity for a 2022, if you will, 2022-2023 Bizmaker grant program as well for the end of the year. And the really nice thing that we did too is for all of those was the consolation prize for those that did not win. We also either gave them sponsorship if they were already a member, or an actual membership to the chamber. So it was a really great opportunity to help these businesses grow. So if you want to learn more about Inspire, just let me know. Happy to share that with you. And we of course have to thank our fabulous sponsors for today virtually. Fairfax EDA, Economic Development Authority, our fabulous partners. They are the marketing arm for the county. So if you don't know about the EDA, go check them out. They're wonderful. And then Miller Musmar CPAs. Has everybody done their taxes? Because if you haven't, give Joey a call over there. So thank you to our partners. And of course, the chamber. We're in full gear, guys. So there's a lot going on. Check out the website, but a couple of opportunities that I wanted to share with you right away here. Upcoming big events, the Valor Awards, our first responders. That's the biggest celebration of the year for our first responders. The chamber started this event 2 years ago. We took it over, but it's been going on for several decades. But that's next week on the 31st. So if you're interested in learning more, maybe even sponsoring a first responder, there's a ton of different ways to get involved in addition to just attending. So I think they're looking at over 200 or so people for that event. And then another program that the chamber started, and welcome everybody. I know we had a few people that are coming in as we're talking. So we're just going through a few events here coming up at the chamber. So welcome. Titans of the Toll Road. So yeah, so I'm very excited. I don't know, I could put you on the spot. And do you want to take a second? Because you are kind of in charge of the April 20th one, Data in the Dulles Corridor. Do you got a second to talk about it?
Yeah, well, I think we have an incredible panel. So this started with talking about the satellite companies we have along the toll road. And we were talking about they're really not, you're not putting up satellites for anything, you're putting them up for data acquisition. So that's why we started talking about, well, who's doing data analytics via satellites? And who's putting up satellite constellations up there? So our, as you would imagine, most of the companies certainly have a relationship in the defense industry. So we got the U.S. Geospatial Intelligence Foundation, which is also hosting us in their beautiful conference facility in Herndon to moderate and host us. And the panel will consist of Hawkeye 360, which is a company I work with that received $200 million last year of investment and are completing their full constellation of satellites for data acquisition over ocean, cover the globe. We have Maxar. Maxar, you'll often see when you're watching the news in the upper right-hand corner of any video footage that's coming out of Ukraine. That would be Maxar Technologies. They're in Chantilly. Then we have Black Sky, another company I work with, doing something similar, a different take than Hawkeye, though has defense and a commercial component to its business. And finally, we have a company called SpaceLink, which is a very fast-growing startup here that is enabling the communication technologies between the satellites and the ground. That's
awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, I just, I want to thank you for elaborating, Anne. It's just we're so cutting edge and it's a really exciting program. So if you're interested in it or know about anybody else, Titans of the Toll Road is a new program that the Chamber has launched. So we're going to do it twice a year with some of the bigger organizations. So it's a great play. And then of course our networking night, if you guys are not familiar with the fabulous St. James, they're a huge facility down in Springfield and they're opening up an endurance center here at the town center. We're excited for them. So we're actually getting in before they open. So hopefully you can join us on the 26th. And then the largest B2G, so the Business to GovCon matchmaking conference and Small Business Expo is taking place on the 5th. Always, we have well over 300 people, I believe, that attend that in organizations. So if that's your gig, check it out because they're taking appointments to match yourselves up with the big players there. And then I wanted to just make sure you guys were also aware when you check out the website, ACE nominations are going to be opening. So the Chamber has their annual Chamber of Excellence Awards that will take place in June. So we have our nominations opening for small, medium, large, volunteer of the year. There's a number of different categories. So check that out. That's going to be coming in our Monday newsletter next week. And then of course, if you look at the calendar, you're going to just see a full calendar of all the committee, council, and lead share meetings. So if you are interested in learning more about the Chamber, whether you're engaged, whether you're a prospect, check it out. You're welcome to visit and learn more about the fabulous work that we're doing. And then, of course, the Health and Wellness Committee, we just wanted to share that the Health and Wellness Council meets on the second Thursday, 10:30 to 11:30 with our fabulous leaders here. And they are recently they've decided that they're going to add a health and wellness tip in the Monday newsletter. So very exciting for all the work that this group is doing and contributing to the wellness of all of us business people. All right, enough of me. Before we get started, make sure this is all about networking. We all want to meet each other. So if there's somebody on the screen that you want to meet or get to know, let us know and we'll do a virtual intro. And then also, if you yourself want to put your name and company information in the chat, and our speakers will do that as well, put that in the chat. This is all about, who you are and who you want to meet. Format for today essentially is, and I will stop sharing so that we can see each other. Format for today is pretty much Q&A. So we've got a structured program and we want to make sure that we have time for the speakers to share their expertise. but Denise is going to moderate from Northwest Federal, and she'll keep us all under wrap. But if you've got a burning question, make sure you put it in the chat, or again, after each section, we will have an opportunity to ask our questions. And then, of course, at the end, we're here. So like I said, enough of me. I will turn it over to our fabulous moderator, sponsor of the Health and Wellness, Ms. Denise Kitchen from Northwest Federal. Thank you,
Good
Denise.
morning. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And by the way, I do have eyes behind these glasses, but I'm just sitting in a room full of glass, so that's why I have that.
Yeah, you know, we old people, you know.
We got to use these, right, to read. So thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in today. And thanks, Angela, for kicking us off and for hosting the BES series, of course. I just wanted to introduce myself real quick. My name is Denise Kitchen, and I'm a relationship manager for the company partnership program within Northwest Federal Credit Union. We partner with outside organizations so that they can offer a credit union membership as part of their benefits package to their employees. And it's a free program, so it's great. I am also part of the Chamber's Health and Wellness Council, of which Northwest is a proud sponsor, and I am your moderator today, like Angela said. Thanks again for joining us, and we're so glad to have you here. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that in general, we all face some kind of challenges when it comes to our own health and wellness, right? And then along came the wonderful pandemic, all right, COVID-19. While the third wave of the pandemic has already set in within the last 2 years and having been quite tough for pretty much everybody, we now look ahead to the wellness trends set to empower us this new year in 2022, right? So our panel of experts is joining us today, and they're all part of the Chamber's Health and Wellness Council as well, by the way. And they will share their expertise on the current direction and best practices you can do today to minimize stress, increase productivity, and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Our goal is to have you walk away today with some simple strategies for empowering your productivity. So at this point, I'm going to ask the panel to introduce themselves. Oh, and before I get to that, there will, like Angela said, there will be time in between the different sections to ask your questions via the chat feature, and then at the end as well. But now I'd like to go ahead and have the panel go ahead and introduce themselves real quickly. And I will start with Nicole.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Nicole Malone. I'm a certified nutrition coach and the founder and owner of Dark Horse Nutrition, LLC. I am also the co-chair of your very own Health and Wellness Council.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. Now let's move on to Nicole. Monika. We had you already.
No worries. Hi, everyone. I'm Monika Taylor with Recovery Program Solutions of Virginia. We are an organization that supports adults with mental health, substance use, and homelessness issues around Northern Virginia. We have 5 centers. We also have 10 virtual programs, and our goal is to help people to move forward in life. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome. And last but not least, Connie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Connie Ruiz. I'm the co-founder and owner of Personal 20, the EMS studios. We're celebrating 5 years now at our first Herndon location over at World Gate. And we opened our second location during the pandemic over in Tyson's Corner. We'll be 1 year there in April.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies. So one of the buzzwords that appeared a while back and keeps reappearing is self-care. So that's the topic we're going to start with. Now I'm going to have each of the panelists give us a little explanation as to what their definition is of self-care and what some good ways are to take care of oneself. So I'm going to start this off with Monika. And Monika, if you could kick us off.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health, just because a lot of people have heard that word, but don't really maybe understand what it is. And there's a lot of potential stigma around the word mental health. I am not a morning person. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Please bear with me. So mental health is all about emotional, physiological, and social well-being. And it's where you are, and it impacts everything that we all do. And a lot of people think that mental health are those other people, but everyone, I think, especially in light of everything that's happening in the world right now, is impacted by mental health in one way or the other. It's just how dramatic it might be. 1 in 4 people in America have a mental health condition, a traditional mental health condition, whether it be depression, anxiety, what have you. And last year, 2021, 1 in 6 people sought out help from a professional, a counselor or a psychologist, psychiatrist for mental health conditions. And also in 2020, when the pandemic officially started, 1 in 3 people was clinically diagnosed as either having a mental health, clinical depression or anxiety related to their mental health. So it is a thing. That's what I call it. It's a thing. And so I don't think personally that there's a stigma around mental health anymore, because everyone's being impacted, and it's really hitting children specifically. I'm sure you all have heard that, but kids are having a really tough time. And a lot of it has to do with just the fact that we're doing a lot of doom scrolling, and it's not even by choice. It's, personally, I find it tough sometimes just turning on the news and watching a war in real time. It's just kind of, it's just really hard. So ultimately, around self-care, what we share at RPSV is that, for most of us, we can get through this without the assistance of, others. But if you find that you're functioning at a point where it's not normal, like you can't sleep, you can't eat, you're not, you need help, it's okay to reach out. And that's the message I have around self-care is it's okay to reach out. We have people who come to us once and just kind of talk or what have you. And we have people that come to us every week. It really is okay. And I think the barrier of the stigma of mental health and people not really understanding what it is, I think is the hurdle to overcome. And so if you know people who are just not able to do the things they used to do, they're depressed or what have you, that's what self-care is about. It's about loving yourself enough to help. And, it's not only physical health is incredibly important, but mental health is equally as important. So that's my little message. Thank you.
It is. Thank you for that, Monika. Now, do you find that a lot of people get held back by their own pride when it comes to seeking help? Yeah.
It's just like,
I would imagine so.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, it's just like people who won't go to a food pantry, before they used to donate, and now people are going to food. It's okay. There's no stigma. And I really encourage people just to remember that there's no shame. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. Does anybody have any questions for Monika? And if you do, if you could type them in the chat, that would be easiest.
Thank you.
I was just going to make one comment about what she said, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm a member of Link, which is out of Herndon, the Instant Help and Food Network. They gather food from about 7 or 8 churches. It comes to one central food pantry. Okay. And then it's dispersed to families that actually have to go in and register for food delivery. So if you know of anybody that's in that situation that may be, like what Monika said, too proud to ask for help, you can always contact me. Because I'm one of the regular deliverers, I know the president of Link, and I can just get them on the list. And, they don't even have to know they were on the list, frankly, right? They could just, it's a one-time thing. We buy them groceries for that month. The groceries just show up at the door. We just call to say, hey, when would you like your groceries delivered? So it's a nice service. They don't have to feel ashamed. And, there's help out there through other organizations. So let me know if you know of somebody that's in need that could use some grocery delivery one month or something coming up. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Genevieve. That's very nice. Now let's go over to Nicole. And if you could share your self-care definition, that would be awesome.
Sure. Well, Monika teed it up pretty well for me. For me, self-care is, as Monika stated, it's taking care of yourself, not only physically, but physically, mentally, and emotionally. So my main focus when I work with individual clients is emotional eating. So there are 6 basic emotions, right? So there's sadness, happiness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. Stress, which we often think about when we're talking about emotional eating, we kind of link it to stress, is an actual response to an emotion. So it's providing that definition, feeling to that emotion, the 6 I just listed. So we're very familiar with our physical response to stress. We tense up, we may get headaches, we get sweaty palms, our back, our shoulders get super tense. But what we don't think about is our physiological response to stress. Our physiological response to stress is what often triggers our cravings and our unhealthy habits and behaviors, i.e. eating fatty, salty, and sugary foods. So real quick, super quick basic overview is when you're stressed, under chronic stress, you're kicked into the sympathetic nervous system, essentially your fight or flight. And by that, I don't mean you're literally physically gonna fight or flight for your life. It's your body's perceived threat. So again, physical, emotional, or mental. So adrenaline is released into your bloodstream, which triggers the release of your glucose and fat stores to provide your body the instant energy it needs to fight or flight. This also triggers a response of your appetite hormones, such as ghrelin, which controls your hunger, and leptin, which controls your fullness. So your fullness gauge is kind of malfunctioning temporarily, right? So you may feel like you can eat more than you normally would without getting full. And your ghrelin is increased hunger, so you may feel hungrier than you normally would. So that is, all those events is what causes you to have those specific cravings. So what I suggest is to have what I call a go bag, right? So I'm military, so everything's a go bag, or operation this, operation that. So have foods that are high in fiber, high in protein, and of course water, because just because you're craving salty and sugary foods doesn't mean you need to eat a bag of chips or a chocolate bar. It just means you're craving those types of foods. So bananas, berries, protein bars. If you're craving chocolate, there's great options like Pure One Protein, One bars that are high in protein and chocolate, which will curb your cravings. So I suggest always having those types of foods on hand. So when you are stressed, it'll kind of limit the urge to go to the vending machine because you're more prepared. So that's what's helped me, and that's what I work on with my clients on.
Awesome. I do find that personally, when I'm prepared and I take meals, to work with me, I do a lot better with my nutrition. So that's a really great tip and something to, remember. And the prepping doesn't take that long either. People always think that food prep takes so long and all that stuff, but it really doesn't. You just grab protein bars and put those in your bag and you take them. And then you don't go to the vending machine and get a Snickers bar. Right. All right. Last but not least, Connie.
Okay, great. Those are all lovely tips. I just love this. It's all so linked, the mental health, what we're eating, and the rest and the other element of our self-care is what we're doing with our bodies as well. So the how and the why of exercise, we have to know it impacts our happiness. So happiness and how we feel about our food and being happy with our mental situation, it all ties together. So when we exercise, it increases your endorphins, your dopamine, your adrenaline. These are all brain chemicals. And these brain chemicals are all associated with feeling happy, feeling confident, feeling capable, feeling productive for work, the trend of productivity, and you feeling less anxious, less stress, and it even helps with less physical pain. So these are one more of the reasons we like to say exercise is medicine. So don't take it in a pill, get happy and move your body. Did you know exercise not only reduces pain, perception, it has great effects on our mental health, mood elevation, reduction of stress and depression. And it's all these things are often associated with chronic pain conditions that we feel. So exercise is known to make a direct impact to reduce insulin resistance, reduce inflammation. It stimulates the release of growth factors. All these are chemicals in our body, and it affects our brain, affects our brain cells, and it even gives new blood vessels that grow in the brain. That's going to give more abundance and survival for your brain cells. So all this exercise is for the health of the whole body. So we like to say health is the new wealth. So that's a good thing. And we're all much more interested in that after surviving the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
So just two more things, like how does exercise help reduce chronic pain? So when we exercise, there's an anti-inflammatory response that's happening. So it's good for your pain management. And just as importantly, with exercise, we age well with exercise. Actually, we're aging every day. Doesn't matter how old we are, every day we're aging. But with regular exercise, we age more slowly. There's some great research that's coming out, and I just wanted to read this last thing here for all of you. This is about exercise for your mental state, for your brain, and for your overall health. The brain does not receive as much blood as other organs in your body. The blood it does receive will bring oxygen, glucose, and other nutrients. So lack of blood flow increases cognitive decline. So remember, what's good for your heart when you go for that walk or that jog or any exercise that you do is also good for your brain.
Very nice. I happen to agree with all of those because some of you know my story of having lost quite a bit of weight over the pandemic and starting exercising. And it was truly amazing how much of a difference it made for me, not just physically, but also mentally. So definitely attest to that. Thank you so much for that, Connie. Anybody have any questions for either Nicole or Connie at this point? If you could put them in the chat, that would be awesome. Give you a couple minutes. Okay, Walter's asking, could Nicole talk about probiotics in the digestive system?
What I can do is if you drop your email address in the chat, I will be more than happy to send you some information separately, if that works for you, Walter.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
I have an issue with anxiety. And I've been diagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and I've been having more yogurts and stuff, nuts and blueberries and
which are all excellent sources. And,
I don't know if it's helping, but just was wanting to know about that. So
different things. What may be good for you may not be good for others. Different people react differently.
Right.
So if you are, we can talk separately for sure. But if there is a food that is kind of causing negative effects, I'm a super fan of the elimination diet. Just try eliminating something that you think may be causing adverse reactions, and go about it that way, if that is your concern. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to talk to you separately.
Thanks, Nicole.
Awesome. And I think, Nicole, it's also safe to say that like your gut health and all that stuff changes as you age, right? At least I've experienced that.
Correct. And under certain circumstances as well, like he mentioned, if you're under chronic stress, of course, that's going to kind of screw up and mess with your digestive system as well. So it all depends on what the root cause of the issue is. And like I said, different foods or probiotics react differently. It's person dependent. So if you wouldn't mind sending me your information in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to reach out to you.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions for Connie? Okay.
I don't
Time to
actually
move
have
on.
sorry. I don't have a question. I was just to say, Connie, I thought it was really interesting that you said that the brain doesn't get as much help as everything else in the body when you're ingesting water and what have you. Is that, I never heard that before. That's very interesting.
Yes. So what's coming out, there's so much evidence-based science that's always coming out for exercise as well. And so that's really what's trending now on the new exercise physiology research. It's trending the study of the exercise impact on the brain. So we think of sometimes taking care of our muscles when we exercise, or becoming more flexible when we stretch, but we need to think of our brain as something we take care of as well, and that we do good things for our brain. So just like I try to have stronger arms, I should try to have a better brain. And there's great research coming out on that, for exercise for the brain health and then exercise for mental health.
Interesting. Thank you.
And Connie, I'll throw it into the chat. I'll go back and look for it. But our first speaker in the series in January was a gentleman from the Alzheimer's Association, and that's kind of what kicked this all off, right? All of the areas we're talking about were so critical to brain health and function. And let me tell you, physical was the number one. So, I mean, if he's like, if the one thing you could do is get out and walk 10 minutes a day or whatever, it is amazing what that, that can impact your brain health. So I'm really glad we highlighted that in this section.
Yeah, that was definitely awesome. I was there too in January, and that was very insightful what he shared.
Alzheimer's has a great resource library. So we weren't able to tape that particular session, but there was definitely a resource library. And like I said, I'll find it and throw it in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Angela. Next, we're going to talk about sleep. And if you're not a spring chicken anymore, like myself, you may have some trouble with that. I do occasionally. But even if you're young, you can have trouble with that, right? For several different reasons. So let's see what our experts have to say on that subject. So Nicole, I'm going to start you out here.
Sure. So it is common knowledge that it's recommended that we get 8 hours of sleep. That's what the material states. As you're younger, you require more sleep because your body is still developing and all those things. And as you age, you require less sleep. But I want to point out before I talk about some nutritional ways to help you sleep better at night is that not every person is alike, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. So while the material says that you need or should get 8 hours, doesn't mean that's the same for everyone. Everyone's body repairs and all that stuff at different rates. So I get typically about 6 hours of sleep at night, and I'm perfectly fine. So there is a thing called oversleep. So I don't recommend trying to force yourself to get that extra 2-3 hours of sleep, because I promise you, your body will not like you when you wake up. You will feel super, super groggy. But I did want to say that. So melatonin is what some people use to help them fall asleep at night, right? So they buy melatonin pills to help them sleep. So melatonin is essentially a hormone produced by the brain in response to darkness. So as it starts to get dark outside, your melatonin levels increase, right? So that helps you prepare for sleep. So there's a couple things I suggest to help you sleep. One is to be careful what you eat late at night. So if you eat a full meal, like dinner, like chicken breast, broccoli, and rice, sticking with the bodybuilder diet, 2 hours before bed, protein takes the longest to digest. So what happens is your internal body heats up when it's digesting food. When you sleep, your body cools. So there's an internal conflict there. So that may cause disruption in your sleep if you eat a super heavy meal a couple hours before going to bed. So with that being said, if you are one who struggles falling asleep and don't want to pop a pill like me, I hate pills. There are foods that you can eat that actually do contain melatonin. So if you were growing up and your parents always suggested to drink a warm glass of milk before bed, and you thought to yourself, that sounds disgusting, well, they were actually onto something, because milk actually is one of those foods that contain melatonin. So if you consume things like milk, oatmeal, oranges, tart cherries or tart cherry juice, olives, pistachios or almonds, turkey, just to name a few, those foods might actually help you fall asleep naturally, and your body isn't working as hard to digest those foods. So you won't have that internal body temperature conflict that will naturally interrupt your sleep. So that is pretty much all I have to say on sleep from a nutritional standpoint that may help you long-term.
That's super interesting that you should mention that, because I just recently heard that your brain temperature has to come down in order for you to fall asleep. I'd never known that before.
Yep.
So yeah, and I think at this point we can probably go to verbal questions versus the chat box. Kevin, I saw that you raised your hand. Do you want to go ahead and pose your question?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I often have to work out late, and then I come home, my daughter and I hit the gym. We come home and we have like one of those protein shakes, like muscle milk. Do you think that protein in the shake is easier for my body to digest than, say, a piece of chicken?
I mean, a piece of chicken is definitely going because it's in food form. So your body is working harder to actually break that down. But if you don't feel like drinking a protein shake such as muscle milk disrupts your sleep, then I say that's fine. Typically those are high in protein, but since it's in liquid form, that may not have the same effect as if you were actually chewing your food. But if you don't feel like your sleep is disrupted because of that, then I say continue with it. But it is good to know that proteins and healthy fats are two of the macronutrients that do take the longest to break down and will cause your body temperature to heat up, which can interrupt your sleep.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks for that. And Walter is asking whether CBD helps with sleep.
Yeah, I've heard that it helps with sleep. I've actually never used CBD before. So I did hear that it does help. I suggest, I honestly don't have any issue with anyone trying it out. Like I said, I'm not very familiar because I've never used it, but I've heard the same things, that there are things in CBD that will help relax you. It's actually good for stress as well. So yeah, that might be a solid option.
Awesome. Connie, what's your take on exercise and sleep?
Okay, great. Thanks, Nicole. Love all those friendly reminders how we need to think of how we're eating to impact our sleep. I've listed 5 different ways exercise can also help improve sleep. But I just have to say, following up on what Nicole said, it did remind me in our studio when we talk to our clients about sleep, because they're already exercising and they're still looking for other ways to enhance their sleep. I have to say, I lived in Europe for 20 years, and there it's very common that the rooms are very dark. The way they build the homes with the shutters and the way they keep rooms so dark. And when I came back to America, I had to start sleeping with an eye mask because it's just so bright. So when we look at ourselves as humans and how we evolved, we used to sleep in caves. We used to sleep in rooms that are really dark. So a dark room, a cold room, as was talking about for the brain. So the temperature should be lower. You need a dark environment, and blackout doesn't really work for me in this country. So it was eye masks for a long time. Earplugs, because there's all kinds of sounds going on, especially with central heating, which they didn't have in Portugal where I was living. So I didn't have that to disrupt my sleep. And the light, the little red light by your clock in your room, or on the TV, if you have a TV in your room, those things are all really disruptive to the brain and will make an impact on your sleep. And also being on your cell phone or watching TV, anything with that blue light within 1 to 2 hours for going to sleep, it's going to be disruptive. So you can use movement and you can use exercise. You can wind down, you can do some yoga, you can do some stretching, you can write in a journal, but you need to prep yourself for a good night's sleep. But specifically with exercise and moving your body, exercise will help you fall asleep and help you stay asleep during the night. So there's another benefit to exercising. Exercise will alleviate stress. And the common thing that can keep us up at night is stress. We're worried about our work, we're worried about money, we're worried about anything else that puts us into a mental frenzy, and that can make sleep impossible. All the clenching that we do with our muscles and our shoulders and our back and our neck, that creates that stress, making it also hard to sleep, especially if we have some knots and pain there. So again, the exercise eliminating stress, clearing your mind, and getting you ready for a good night's sleep. Exercise will improve that quality of your sleep, the amount of time you spend in each stage. So if you can get into all those sleep stages and stay there appropriately, that will enhance so you're having good quality sleep. Exercise usually helps most people get more sleep, as Nicole was saying, how many hours, and then it all becomes about the individual. But people that weren't exercising and then do it consistently and make a habit of exercise, we'll see that they'll consistently get better, longer quality sleep as well. You just have to get that consistency in place. And then here's another really cool thing about exercise and sleep. It will decrease your daytime sleepiness. So this is true for almost any age and any fitness level. And I think when I was doing some research in preparation for this, I also found this interesting that experts believe that this is so linked to exercising and the impact of frequent causes of daily sleepiness, including depression, obesity, diabetes, sleep deprivation. So when we exercise, it impacts all those things, and then all those things impact a good night's sleep. Since I'm representing exercise for sleep, somebody might be wondering, what's the best time to work out? So different people have different, significantly different biorhythms. That's just based on your circadian rhythm, hormones, gene expression, core body temperature, as we were mentioning. So a good rule is to train when you personally perform your best, whether you're a morning or a night owl. So take that in consideration. It's a myth that early morning is the best time to work out. It can be if that's your peak performance time, the morning. Working out first thing in the morning is great for being a kickstart of your metabolism. It's a bonus. You get it done in the morning, so you don't have to plan it to the rest of your day. But a 2019 study that was published in the Journal of Physiology found out that working out between 1 and 4 is just as effective as working out in the early morning. So again, it all depends on you. Are you a morning person or not? It's when your personal best performance is, that's when you should consider exercising.
Thank you for that, Connie. Yeah, for me, I work out in the mornings just because I know that once I get home from work, I will not get it done. So I got to do it early, get out the house to work, and then I'm done for the day, which I like that too, that I'm, good to go for the rest of the day. Monika, let's move to you, and then we'll move to some questions after that. Monika, what's your take on sleep and mental health?
Fascinating listening to Connie and Nicole. Yeah, sleep is really one of the most important things, and people with mental health issues typically have really bad sleep patterns. It's not necessarily exclusive, but it definitely is a thing. Sleep is so important for your cognitive health, long-term especially. They've actually linked bad sleep patterns to dementia and Alzheimer's, which terrifies me because my family has Alzheimer's. And it's because when you're resting, your brain is able to, your body fixes itself and your brain rests, and things get repaired. And Alzheimer's, folks with Alzheimer's have plaque in their brains. And so the plaque is usually impacted when the brain is resting, when it's at rest. And so it's really critical to get sleep, and it is truly challenging to get sleep. I've always had horrible sleep. But, from a cognitive perspective, you've all experienced it, I'm sure, if you've had long stretches where you're not resting. Simple motor movements are challenged, your cognitive reactions when you're driving, on and on and on. So essentially, my message around sleep is that anything that you can do to help yourself would be great. I know that there are now sleep clinics, not necessarily if you have a CPAP and you need to go to a sleep clinic to figure out how to, get it adjusted or what have you, but sleep clinics that actually teach you to sleep. There are a lot of apps that you can use, like Calm and others, just decompress, like maybe an hour or half an hour before you go to sleep, just do nothing, just, relax. And that's a real challenge. And one of the things Connie mentioned, how you're I know for me personally, how my brain kicks in as soon as my head hits the pillow. Have a journal next to you and just write out whatever's, in your head, as opposed to laying there thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get up and do this, and tomorrow I have to do that. Because journaling is a great way for many reasons, but it also gets that stuff out of your head that's keeping you up at night and things like that. Anxiety is a huge part of sleep. Excuse me. It's a lot of the reason a lot of people do not sleep well. And anxiety is about the future. Depression is about the past. So it's really important to just try to focus on the right now. Just think about what you're doing at that particular moment, and don't think about things. I mean, it's easier said than done, clearly, but try to stay right now. And so, okay, I'm going to sleep now. Learn to breathe, you know, in and out. There are a lot of apps on your phone and what have you that can teach you how to breathe properly. Deep breathing is a great way to relax. To go to sleep, meditation is a great way you can do it, things like that. And I actually have my own personal sleep hack, if you guys don't mind me sharing it. Do you mind? Thank you. So I don't know where I learned this, but the one thing that's worked for me that I just find miraculous is extra virgin olive oil. I don't know if you can see it in dark bottles. This stuff is miraculous. I have always had insomnia, and I mean, for as long as I can remember. This stuff is amazing. I just put a little tiny bit of extra EVOO on my tongue before I go to sleep at night, and maybe drink a little bit of water. And within 10 to 15 minutes, I'm out like a light. And, you know, I'm not a doctor, so I encourage you to talk to your doctor. But I spoke to mine and he didn't have an issue with it. It's amazing. It does so many good things for you. My blood pressure, my cholesterol dropped 70 points with EVOO, and so many other positive things have happened. And the reason it works is because it opens up your blood vessels and allows blood to flow. And it also helps again with the plaques and things like that. But it allows your blood to flow. And so your blood pressure rests and goes down, and then you're able to sleep. I can't say enough about EVO. I feel like it's a miracle drug, and it's part of the Mediterranean diet, so it's very healthy. You know, it's a natural thing. It, you know, comes from olives, as I think Connie mentioned, or maybe it was Nicole who mentioned. It's just really phenomenal. So that's my personal hack. So thank you.
Monika, why does it have to be in a dark bottle?
Oh, because, you know, when the light hits oils and things like that, it breaks down the nutrients that, you know, doesn't make it as worthy or as healthy.
Oh.
Interesting. I've never heard that about olive oil. That is so cool. I'm going to try that because I deal with insomnia.
Yeah, please do, and let me know. I told my the doctor's office, when I was at the doctor's office, I got my blood drawn, and I can't say that word. The person who takes my blood was telling me about her bad sleep, and I told her about EVOO, and I saw her about maybe 7 months later, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for telling me." She says she sleeps 9 hours without fail now. It's amazing. The other thing it does is your blood pressure really lowers. My blood pressure is historically about 105. You know, a lot of people are 120/80. Mine's 105 or 105. So anyway, I can't say enough about it. But please talk to your doctors if you have any thoughts around it. So. Excuse me.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that tip. Does anybody have any questions for Connie or Monika? Other than the ones that we already posed.
One for either Connie or Monika. Just you were talking about the blue light, and I'm curious your thoughts on LED light bulbs, like as opposed to incandescent, and how that affects sleep.
Interesting. Connie, do you have any thoughts? Or
I personally have the incandescent light bulbs in my room by my nightstand. I know it's controversial, but there's some controversy if LED lighting is disruptive to the body, and so yeah, I just choose that for by my nightstand.
Yeah, I use incandescents in my home just because of how that LEDs made me feel when I switched, and my sleep really has improved since then.
Oh, nice. And it's hard to find them. So last time I saw them at Home Depot, I bought a bunch. They're hard to get nowadays.
That's right.
May I say something about Anne, about the light bulbs? So I have an aero garden, one of those gardens indoors that with the water and the light goes on a timer. And the way my garden works, I don't know exactly technology-wise how I set it up, but the timer, the light, which is one of those LED bright lights, always goes on at night. And even when I shut the bedroom door, that light, just like you ladies were saying, it's so bright, it's shining under. So I just put a little towel over the whole garden. I don't know if that would work for anybody if those are the only light bulbs they have, like in a bedroom, you know. Of course, you want to be careful that it doesn't get too hot, but stupid little dumb thing, kind of like Monika's hack. But yours wasn't dumb. Mine is
that's okay. I feel as long as it works, you know, it's whatever works for you, really.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we have to watch our time a little bit.
I'll just mention one thing on the olive oil. Probably Nicole was going to say this too, but it's Genevieve would know this, being from France too. First cold press is what you want to look for in good quality olive oil in a dark bottle. First cold press is when they press the olives the first time. It's a little more expensive than when they rejuvenate them to try and squeeze more and more, but it's a better quality.
Good to know.
Good tip. Thank you so much for that, guys.
Hey,
We're,
Denise, I know
running-
you're moving us along. I just want to let everybody know we do have until like 9:30, but we're probably going to go over. So we've got some great content and summaries from everybody. I just want you to be respectful. If you've got to jump, we respect it. But if you could stay on, we'll probably, this has just been some great conversation. So I appreciate it. I just want to let everybody know that.
It really has. I love how engaged everybody is. But now we're going to move on to the next one. And this is the buzz phrase of work-life balance, right? So we all strive to have that. And it can look different based on the individual. I think it's pretty much safe to say at this point that self-care and sleep contribute greatly to a healthy work-life balance as well. I think overall, we need to learn how to prioritize and make time, finding that fine line, right? Also, a lot of us try to make a lot of changes at the same time, trying to fit a great many things into our day, but is that sustainable? And if so, how? So our panelists are going to give us a little bit of insight into that. And I'm going to start with you, Connie, if you could talk to us about that.
Okay, great. So exercise and work-life balance. I just wanted to mention about what's recommended and how much and how to find ways to add exercise to your day. I also wanted to let you know what's trending about exercise and strength training, and muscle is the organ of longevity. And I thought I could demystify some of the myths. So one of these, a great study that I've come across recently in the British Journal of Sports Medicine was able to look at the benefits of strength training, because the health benefits of aerobic exercise have been well established with research over the years. And now what's trending in our industry is the research of the muscle strengthening exercise and the muscle mass and how important that is. So these findings are showing us that just 30 to 60 minutes of muscle strengthening exercise each week can have up to 10 to 20% reduction in your mortality risk. And we're only talking 30 to 60 minutes of strength training a week. That's what some of the research is coming out and letting us know. So the report is that 1 hour muscle strength exercise will also reduce your risk of developing diabetes. What did I want to emphasize with this? So if we're going to look at what's recommended about exercise, it kind of starts to sound confusing. Oh, I need to do 150 to 300 minutes of moderate exercise, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous exercise. I always find that kind of, overwhelming. So let's just break that down into chunks. You can do 3 times a week, only 40 minutes. You can do 5 times a week, 15 to 20 minutes. If you can make it more intense, add on some jumping jacks, get your heart rate up, find ways to add in intensity. The brutal facts are 80% of adults are not meeting the key guidelines for doing exercise, both aerobic and muscle strengthening exercise. The trend now for the strength training exercise is that if you train hard enough with exercise, when you're doing your strength training, you are getting blood flow, you are getting your heart rate up. So that kind of strength training is really so beneficial for us. Now, I'm definitely interested in the risk reduction and being able to live a longer life. So here's another really cool study that came out, and this was from Harvard. I know sometimes studies are done on men and not on women, but for every hour that men did exercise, they increased the longevity of their life by 2 hours. So that starts to add up over the years. So the most important thing about muscle strengthening is that you want to preserve your skeletal muscle mass. It plays an incredibly important role in your glucose metabolism. Abnormal glucose metabolism has been associated with an increase in cardiovascular disease and cancer. So the authors found that just doing 30 to 60 minutes of muscle strengthening exercises each week will provide health benefits, as well as longevity. So how can we incorporate this and make this seem doable? There's all kinds of ways. You can do 3 minutes of exercise. You can step away from your computer and just drop into some squats, squat up and down, do some push-ups, anything that's full body strength. You can walk, but what you really want to do is you want to find things you enjoy doing. So if you don't enjoy walking, don't do it. If you enjoy being with groups of people, find group fitness to do. If you want to do strength training and have a mind-body effect, do yoga. If you want to do strength training with weights, consider finding a personal trainer or doing a group fitness class that's focused on strength training. And of course, there's options for doing strength training that includes personal 20 like EMS, where you can get the benefits of strength training, but it's joint friendly. So as you try and figure out, what am I going to do for exercise? First and foremost, find something you like to do so that it can be fun, and just start there. Even if you just add in a minute a day, 3 minutes a day, and work your way up. Your ideal goal should definitely be try to get to 30 to 60 minutes of strength training in a week. And then after that, more is better if you're enjoying it. So I was going to mention some of the myths of exercise that come up. So here's myth number 1. Fat can turn into muscle and muscle can turn into fat. No, that is a myth. You can burn fat and you can build muscle, but they're actually 2 different tissues and they respond differently. So the best analogy is you can't turn an orange into an apple. So don't be fearful that if you have fat, it's going to all turn into muscle, and don't be fearful that if you have muscle and you stop exercising, it would turn into fat. That doesn't happen. All right. Myth number 2. Does doing more cardio means you'll lose more weight? No, not necessarily. Do cardio if you're inspired to run a marathon, do cardio if you enjoy it. But you don't need to do cardio for weight loss. Actually, strength training makes such a positive impact on the whole metabolic system of your body that impacts everything, including your brain health, your mental health, and how your body responds to nutrition. Do it for that reason. But just for you guys to know, to lose 1 pound, you need to burn 3,500 calories. So basically, the average run would burn the average person burns about 100 calories per mile of running. So basically you need to run 35 miles or half a marathon. So don't get all wrapped up in that you need more and more cardio for weight loss. That's a myth. Doing more crunches and sit-ups will get you a 6-pack. No. Crunches and sit-ups can help you have stronger core, but we say abs are made in the kitchen. So you don't get a 6-pack from your sit-ups and crunches. Treat the whole body as a whole body and put all these elements together with your nutrition, with your exercise, and being happy by taking care of your mental health. So those are just some of the myths I thought I would demystify, and some of the suggestions for how you can balance it. If you find something you like to do, that's probably your best first start. Anything that you do is great. Even if you do a minute a day, 3 minutes a day, it's all valid and good. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Connie. That makes me feel a lot better because I do more weight training than anything. And I feel that it makes me feel better. And Nicole was mentioning in her chat too, that women going through menopause should be doing more weight-bearing exercises than cardio. So yes, doing the right thing, which makes me feel good. All right, I'm moving on to Monika and then Nicole, and then we're going to go to the question section. Monika, go ahead and give us your take on work-life balance.
Thank you. I apologize. I wanted to mention something in the last segment, if you don't mind. There's a really great book out called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. And if you haven't read it, I encourage you to do so. It talks about a lot related to stress and sleep and what have you. I think it's a really great reminder that drinking water is absolutely critical and it impacts us in many positive ways. So thank you. So work-life balance really comes down to a quality of life. You know, I personally am a workaholic. I've always been. And what happens is that, you know, when you focus on one thing and perhaps forget about others, your whole world is impacted. And so we all as adults and working adults have to learn how to turn off our phones, you know, take time off, you know, enjoy nature, realize, I mean, you know, obviously if you have families, you know, you have other distractions and positive and good ones, of course, but it's important for your mental health to just decompress. It's so critical for a long-term perspective, but also immediate. And so I basically encourage people to, there's a term called when in doubt, jot it out. Journaling, again, is something that people in the mental health field encourage a lot, because a lot of times those things that are, you know, work related or what have you, just writing stuff down and getting it out of your head so it's not banging around in there allows you to go out and do things and not feel guilty. The other thing is it's okay to take time off, especially if you have your own business. A lot of times people think the world's going to shut down if you take a day off or go to the doctor's office and not look at your phone. Totally just don't. It's really important to just put your phone away and enjoy what you're going through. If you're in the doctor's office, read a magazine. It's unprecedented. Or even look at the, you know, whatever TV shows on. Mindless is really good, and mindfulness is really important. You want to be intentional about your work-life balance. You want to do something purposely. Another really great way to improve your work life and your personal life is to do things for others. One of the things we talk about in mental health is that when you're looking at yourself and only yourself, you know, you're constantly, you know, especially if you're depressed or anxious, it's all about me. But when you start looking at other people, like helping the homeless or feeding folks, like the woman mentioned earlier, what have you, it allows you to feel better. And I actually was on a call yesterday with some folks who were saying how they're just not getting a lot of joy and enjoyment out of what they do every day because they're just working for the bottom line. You have to have that intangible is what I call it in your life that gives you joy. And if you don't have it, you need to go find it, because from a quality of life perspective, it's so critical. And at the end of the day, you know, 20 years from now or when have you, when you're looking back at your life, you're going to want to know that you took time to go to the ocean or spend that extra, you know, hour with your child, or, you know, play with your dog or whatever it is, because from a cognitive perspective, it's just really healthy. And work, it can't always be about work. That's all I'm trying to say. There really are other things out there. So, you know, please put down your phones and, you know, and don't doom scroll, and, you know, and think about the positive in the world, or how you can impact people, because ultimately what you're doing is, I call it riding your ship, but allowing you to do things that are more you focused, you know, so thank you.
I always say work hard and play hard. So take that PTO that you are owed by your employer. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah, you're so right.
do it. Yes.
My friend actually he worked 45 years. When he retired, he had something like 5,000 vacation hours. I'm like, how do you do that? I would take mine. That's very contrary to me. So anyway, yes, very good.
No, I love vacationing. So
Vacation,
right there with you.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nicole, what's your take on work-life balance?
So much. So how many of you work from home currently? Or, okay, so most of us. So from a nutritional perspective and fitness and mental and emotional health, all of the things, that is important to keep in mind, right? So I have a couple tips and things I want to talk about around nutrition and working from home, and habits that kind of get broken because you're no longer in that routine of getting out of the house at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, going to the office, packing your food, and those sorts of things. Those kind of seemed to go out the window over the course of COVID and the pandemic. So what I hear often, my biggest objection is I don't have time. I don't have time to prepare my meals. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time to plan ahead. And I think Denise mentioned this earlier, that meal prep doesn't have to take a ton of time. And that's true. There's meal delivery services. I recommend Mighty Meals is good, Territory Meals. Those are two I've tried that are fresh ingredients, freshly made, that deliver right to your house. There's pre-cut veggies and fruits, pre-washed veggies and fruits you can buy from the grocery store that'll cut down your prep on fruits and vegetables. And I am a huge proponent of the crock pot or slow cooker, whatever people are calling it these days. I'm a huge proponent of that. Protein sources take the longest to cook, right? So what I typically do is I'll just get a few chicken breasts, and this works for steak and all those things as well, but I'll just take a couple chicken breasts, put about a quarter cup of water in there, whatever seasons I want, throw it in a crock pot, not thaw, just dump it in there, put it on high, walk away. 4 hours later, you have tender chicken breast or pulled chicken that you can mix and match with any side dish, and your meal is ready in less than 10 minutes when it's all said and done. So that is how I tackle meal prep, and one way you can tackle meal prep. Another thing is going back to the time. I don't have time. So we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Sometimes I wish we had 27 or 28 hours, but we don't. So we all have 24 hours in a day. If you were one of those people who struggle with time and don't think you have time for something, whether it's exercise, meal prep, or whatever the case may be, journaling, I suggest tracking your time for a week. Literally write down what you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed and how much time you spend on each item. For example, if you watch TV for 30 minutes out of your day, or you mindlessly scroll on Facebook, on social media, right? You'll be surprised how much time people tend to scroll on their phone. If you take that time and use that time for meal prep, you have time to meal prep, you have time to exercise. So I suggest tracking your time for a solid week and see where you can borrow time from one area and use it in another area that creates a healthier habit and a healthier lifestyle. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is the reason I asked who works from home is because it is so easy to get up from your computer and go to the kitchen and just eat whenever you want because you're home. I know my office at home is literally I look at the refrigerator. So what I do is I'll pack my food in my lunchbox as if I'm going to the office, and I'll put it on the floor next to me at my desk. So that way I'm eating and treating my workday as if I were not working at home. I were in the office. So I'm only eating what I prepare and pack for the workday, and that'll alleviate my urge from going to the refrigerator, because that becomes habitual. You will mindlessly just go to the kitchen and grab food, and those calories start to slowly add up. And before you know it, you're in a calorie surplus, and then weight gain is slowly piling on and you have no idea what's happening. So I suggest time tracking, using the crock pot to your advantage. That is the easiest meal prep hack that you can do. Check out some food delivery services if you truly don't have time. Buy pre-cut vegetables and fruit from the grocery store. That'll cut down on prep time of vegetables, and treat your workday as if you were a professional, business owner or employee going to the office. Don't change your habits and your eating habits and your diet habits and your workout and your exercise habits just because you're no longer going to the office.
Those are awesome
Those
tips.
are my biggest takeaways. Yeah.
I love all of those. I use the crock pot more in winter though, unfortunately, than in summertime. So I need to get back to using that. But so you just throw the chicken breast frozen in the crock pot with just a little bit of water. Wow.
Yep. A little bit of water. Sometimes I'll throw some mild salsa on there, have some salsa chicken, but yeah, it cooks. And I'll just take 2 forks and pull the chicken breast and I'll have deconstructed taco salad. You can make a variety of different meals with that chicken.
That's a really great idea. I need to take advantage of that tip.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to go to a quick, I guess, Q&A and see if anybody else has any more questions for the ladies.
Yeah, and then I'll bring up the summary slides. So you want to do Q&A after the summary slides? You guys have kind of been summarizing, but let's just go through them real quick. And I'm going to put in the chat
Sounds good.
a link to the slides that we're going to go through now. So if you guys have to run, you can, but I really kind of want to spend the last few minutes having the team go through their slides. So I'll just bring them back up again here. Nicole, I think you're first here. Can you guys see my screen? This one, Connie, before we get started. Nicole, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So why don't we do this and then we can kind of wrap it up with Q&A, but I think you wanted to go through a few more final tips.
Yep. So for me, I've kind of been touching on this throughout. So I call this my weight management trifecta. This is what helped me on my weight loss journey. Similar to Denise, I've lost I was about 50, 60 pounds overweight pre-COVID. So the majority of my weight loss came over the course of the pandemic. And this is one of the things I used outside of therapy and all that. So why I call this my weight management trifecta is because these three items, water, fiber, and protein, keep you fuller longer, keep you satiated, and give you more bang for your buck as far as more volume for fewer calories. So water helps fill up your belly. Oftentimes we confuse our thirst and hunger cues. That's not to say your body or your brain doesn't know the difference. It's just by the time your stomach starts to rumble, it's essentially telling you that your stomach's like empty. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it always wants food. You could just be dehydrated. So it takes about 20 minutes when you're eating for your brain to recognize whether it's full or hungry. But I recommend, if you feel hungry, drink a glass of water, wait 15 minutes. If you're still getting those, feelings, then try eating. So for women, it's recommended 1.5 cups of water. 11.5 cups of water. The one got cut off. And then for men, it's 15.5 cups of water. So that might seem a lot more than you thought, but we all lose water throughout the day, breathing, going to the bathroom, sneezing, coughing. Everyone's coughing coming out of flu season. So we're constantly losing water, sweating. So it's important to replenish what we're losing. And then fiber, think of whole grains, beans, legumes, fruit, veggies are very low calorie dense. So again, you get more bang for your buck. And when it comes to stress, fiber actually helps level out your blood sugar as well. So it helps minimizes the drastic rising and crashing of your blood sugar. So definitely incorporate more fiber. For men, it's 30 to 38 grams daily. And for women, it's 20 to 25 grams daily. And lastly, protein. Protein has the highest thermic effect, as I mentioned earlier. So it takes your body longer to digest. So because of that, it keeps you satiated longer because your body is still working to digest and break down your protein. But your body's also burning more calories, granted minimal, but burning more calories digesting and breaking down protein. So if you eat good sources of chicken, as I mentioned earlier, steak, turkey, Greek yogurt, tofu, and all those other things that are listed here. If you incorporate more of those into your diet, you should know a difference. So water, fiber, protein are the three areas I recommend focusing on.
Okay.
Sorry, Connie, you want to?
Okay, great. Thanks, Nicole. So I just wanted to say, in summary for physical health, these three things go together. When you're stronger, you're going to be healthier. And when you're healthier, you're going to be happier. So stronger. Anything you do to make your body stronger is going to help you live longer. Anything you do to have more muscles and to keep the muscle mass that you have is going to help you regulate your whole metabolic system. It's the foundation. It's trending. You're going to see more and more on the research. You need to keep your muscles. You need to stay strong. And that's why it is never too late to start to exercise. If you haven't been a regular exerciser, it's never too late. And if you are a regular exerciser and you've stopped, it's still not too late to do it again. As a matter of fact, studies say up until even in your 80s, you can gain muscle mass. So you need to do strength training and you need to keep your muscle mass. And we can die with our muscles. So exercise, strength training, you need muscle mass, strength training. It's so important. It will make you healthier for all the metabolic conditions, everything. And then you'll be happier. So exercise is medicine. So if you feel that you need medicine for any of your chronic issues, exercise. If you need medicine because you're also unhappy or depressed or anything's going on with your mental, exercise medicine for that too. So don't take a pill, take exercise. Even if you take a pill, exercise. So they all go together. And there's so many different ways to do it. There is a resource on our YouTube of Personal 20, our EMS studio. We have a playlist where we actually show you how you can just in 3 minutes get a workout, stand up from your desk. Many of you said you're working at home. So right there in 3 minutes or even in 1 minute, you can do one of those exercises because it all counts. And what I didn't really emphasize, but I'll just take a moment to say, with Personal 20 and EMS training, it's real strength training and it's joint friendly. So it's an incredible way to activate and recruit what we call fast twitch muscle fibers, because when we exercise, there's slow twitch and fast twitch. And with EMS, you can really activate those fast twitch muscle fibers. They're the ones we start to lose with the aging process. So I hope that will be helpful for you.
Tell people what EMS stands for, Connie.
Oh, sorry. Electronic muscle stimulation. So you dress in this full body suit and it's going to stimulate your muscles, including your weakened muscles and your less regularly used muscles. And it's just all the benefits of exercising in 20 minutes, but it gives you the benefits of 90 minutes.
Thank you. All right, Miss Monika.
So I often tell people where we work to put on your oxygen mask first before you help other people when you think about your life and everything that you're doing. How can you love yourself or focus on yourself, if others, if you can't take care of yourself first? So it may sound a little selfish, but it's important to make sure that you're in a mental positive place before you're helping others. There's actually a term now called mental fitness, which is now trending. It's all about making sure that you're in the best place that you can possibly be. And again, when in doubt, write it out. It's really important to journal. If you don't do it, it doesn't have to be elaborate, but it really is healthy and it helps you to process those feelings that you may be holding on to. And again, what we say at RPSV, where I work, is there's no shame in reaching out for help. With everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm surprised that more people aren't asking for help. Mental health is a thing. It's everyone. I think everyone in the world is impacted. Everyone in the world is dealing with something. If you've ever had a loss and you know how those feelings impact you, watching the news, whatever it is, it's gonna make an impact. And so there's no negative way about helping people. And there are a lot of great resources available. RPSV, we offer in-person and also virtual support. Virtual support is really wonderful. There are, opportunities to join places like Eventbrite and Meetup. There are a lot of different things that you can do. Just get yourself out there. The most important thing I think that a lot of people with mental health issues don't do is have fun. And I think it's important to just have fun. If you're concerned about something that you're going through, the resources that I offer is take a mental health screening. You may not need something that deep of a dive, but it is available from Mental Health America. Again, meditation apps are wonderful, and be mindful. I know that's the term, but do things that are going to make you happy. Adult coloring books. I don't know, sometimes when I go out with my nieces and nephews and they get the coloring books with the crayons, I ask for them too, and we color together. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really healthy to kind of be childlike. Blowing bubbles was something that Latasha suggested. Exercise, walking, yoga, whatever it is that makes you happy. I think living a joy-filled life is something that we should all strive for, and whatever that looks like to you. And ultimately, my hashtag is have some fun. Life is way too short. And, the older we get, the more you realize that's a realism. Life is way too short. So do whatever you can and have some joy every single day. Thank you.
I love that hashtag. We're going to start utilizing it. Have some more fun with GRCC. That was great. That was great. Denise, do you have any other comments?
No, I'm good to go.
Other questions come in? I don't think I've
really great session. No, I looked through. I think we addressed all the other questions, and then the rest of them we took verbally. So I think as far as questions are concerned, we're good to go. And then of course, all of you guys know to contact the panelists if you have any questions on the side that you would like to pose. They'll be more than happy to help you.
And if everybody got the link, we're gonna get to Lisa. If everybody got the link in the chat, to what we just shared, and it's got all the contact information of our panel members as well. And just a quick note that when we follow up with an email, 2 seconds, Lisa, we're doing a survey. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a second to complete our survey in the link when we send it, we would greatly appreciate your feedback. Sorry, Miss Barretta.
Thank you. Just real quick question, I guess more for Nicole. We hear so much about water. What is best? I mean, I have a 0 water filter, the filtered water, or then there's all these fancy waters and bottled waters, and have a BPH free bottle. And I'm at home all day. I need to drink more water, and I don't know what to choose from.
So there's pros and cons to all of it, right? So I drink regular tap water, and the benefit of regular tap water is you're not losing the vitamins and minerals that are naturally contained in the water. Granted, there are some bad waters out there that come in the tap depending on where you're located, but we're in a good area. We're in the United States. Our water is clean. So this is tap water. Filtered water there's nothing wrong with it, but again, you're not really getting the vitamins and minerals that are naturally contained in water. So I just recommend just drinking regular old tap water. It's free. Save your money on bottled water. There's really no benefit to my knowledge of drinking that vice, just tap water.
What about the alkaline I hear so much about, Nicole?
That is fake news. That's seriously, there's no, so the way your pH levels work in your body, it's very acidic. So they claim that it's base, that it's 7, I think it is, that it's claiming, or somewhere around there. So it doesn't even make it past anything in your body. It dies in the acid within your stomach and your body. So it really does not provide any extra added benefits at all. That's been debunked pretty soon after it came out.
I just want to say my understanding is that particularly in areas like ours, that tap water is actually safer and better regulated than whatever than bottled water. So,
yeah,
so it's not just cheaper. You're actually
for real. Yeah, because a lot of the spring water and the filtered water and all that, like that they're claiming it is, it's really not. Like there's no like Ronit said, it's not very well regulated. So yeah, definitely drink your water. Stay away from the alkaline water. There's truly no benefit to that whatsoever.
And we're saving the planet.
Nicole, what about the fluoride and chlorine that can be in tap water?
It's so minimal. And like I said, for the most part, our water is very clean. I've been drinking tap water since I was a kid, and I'm still alive, well, and healthy. It's the fluoride and all that in water it's not as bad as it once was many, many years ago. Our water is pretty clean in this country. So there's truly no disadvantage to drinking tap water in this country. Other countries, yes, do your research, but in this country, it's safe.
Well, there was that outbreak in, wasn't it in Chicago about 8 years ago? a big scandal on the water system.
Yeah, I mean, things can get
Isn't it all over the
contaminated.
news?
Yeah, things can get contaminated, kind of like our food.
Is
You
the
know, if you go
fight.
to the grocery store and buy bad chicken, a bad batch of chicken, you can get salmonella and all that stuff. So yeah, there are instances where our water and food supply can get contaminated, but those instances are few and far between, to my knowledge.
Alicia, did you have a question? Sorry, you had your hand raised.
Do you have any thoughts about sparkling water, seltzer water? I've heard people say that sometimes it makes you bloated. I don't know if you know.
I mean, I've never had an issue with sparkling water or making me feel bloated, but again, that's person dependent. Every person reacts differently. I think there are benefits of sparkling water as well. So like if you're one person who likes to drink carbonated beverages, it's an awesome alternative to say a soda if you just need that carbonation feel. But yeah, if you don't have any negative side effect, I've never had any negative side effects as far as bloat. So that's person dependent.
Okay.
Going on this water theme, see Lisa, what you started. So what do you think about the Brita? Like, I have the Brita pitcher, with the little filter in it. Is that just and I use my tap water in it. Is that just a gimmick, do you think?
I mean, it filters out all the essential, like I mentioned earlier, it filters out all the vitamins and minerals. So
that
it's
we actually
literally
want. So it's
correct. So there's
Okay.
a lot of benefits to drinking tap water.
Just tap water.
Just regular tap water. So because when you filter out your water or buy spring water in the grocery store, that's exactly what they're doing. They're just filtering out all the natural vitamins and minerals that are contained in regular tap water. So you're losing those.
And then you're spending money on ridiculous little filters like $28.99 for a pack of 3. So yeah. I wanted to say, for those who still do use plastic bottles at our food pantry, we collect them and we put detergent in them so that every household that comes gets enough for a couple of loads of laundry. So should any of you ever do that, or your offices, save them in a big hefty trash bag and let me know. We'll take them and help the planet a little
We'll
bit.
start collecting them at net night.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not speaking for the chamber.
Okay.
Hey, when we decided to do this, and we originally had the call until 10, we knew we were going to have this discussion, but yeah, then we pared it down to an hour, and look, we still took the hour and a half. So this is awesome. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone. This has been fascinating.
Absolutely. Really, really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I will say,
I agree.
yes, and I work with HR departments, and one of the things I hear that employees or that talent is looking for is that work-life balance. There's a lot of interest in providing wellness, and so can I request a whole other session on how?
Hey, Ronan, really quickly, I don't know if we've met. What company are you with?
I'm with Data, which is
Data.
a nonprofit, which actually I've worked with some of Denise's colleagues at Northwest Federal Credit Union.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I wasn't sure if you were a member of the chamber.
Data actually is a member of the chamber, absolutely. And
Our
Area transportation, right?
association,
Right.
yes.
I asked because you mentioned being in HR, and our Q2 theme,
Yes.
if you missed it a little bit earlier, is all about productive business economic kind of opportunity, we're calling it. So and we're going to be talking about a lot of things relative to attracting and retaining good talent, the Great Resignation, blah 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 blah. So our panel is going to be in June. But anyway, if you wouldn't mind, did you put your contact in the chat?
I did, and I'd be happy to.
Love to get some of your perspective. That's great. And just so you guys know, and like I said, we'll follow up with an email, but in the chat, if you're not familiar with this, and I mean, I know we've been Zooming for years, but if you click on the chat, the right-hand side, there's 3 little dots, you can save the chat. Not every, whatever you want to call it, setup allows you to do that, but the chamber does. So, but anyway, you can save the chat, but the chamber will send a link when we send our follow-up. So,
and the other thing too, I'd like to mention, Rona or anyone else who is either a member does not know how to be engaged or is thinking about joining the chamber, please contact me. My name is Alicia Little, and I am the Member Engagement Director with the Chamber. Sharon Slavin is my coworker who does new member or brings in new members, but she's out of the office for the week. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll put my information in the chat as well. So Rona, as a member of the Chamber, we can set you up with a member profile, and then you'll start being able to come to events.
I think I already said, I think I just set it up.
Awesome.
But I will double check with you. So because I'm looking forward to enjoying more of these since Q2 is right up my alley.
Yeah. And again, your ambassador, if you don't know who your ambassador is, yeah, we have a whole committee that is focused on helping members get engaged and kind of learn about how to maximize the membership. So thank you for that. I see that Gilda just joined. I'm not calling you out, but I'm calling you out. If you had any questions.
No, this was a great session. I'm sorry. I joined about 15 minutes late. I was on my iPad.
Oh, that's with you.
I just came on just to say hi. Thank you. Mary Ellen invited me. I just saw it late last night and I got on, but I couldn't log in because the cutoff was
oh yeah. I'm glad it worked out.
So anyway, Carrie was nice enough to get me on. So I appreciate that. But I just want to say it was a great session. I love this topic. This is kind of what I specialize in, work-life balance, avoiding burnout. I'm actually a life coach, so I actually do talks on stuff like this as well. So if you need other panelists or future speakers,
always good to keep that in mind. Yeah. What you have your own business? Is it?
Yeah. So it's called the Nonprofit Path. Because I have a passion for working with nonprofits, but I've actually decided to open it up to all successful professionals. So really my goal is to help successful professionals have less overwhelm, more balance, so they can actually have a greater impact on their mission, their community, and those that they serve, or just those that are around them if they're not, focused on a mission. So
well, God bless you, because we need more of everybody on the screen, just so you know. So put your contact info in the chat.
Sure.
So we all know who you are. Are you a member yet of the Chamber?
I'm not. I'd love to explore that for sure. I'll put my email in there, and then if it's helpful, I actually have a free guide on how to focus on your priorities, more of a workbook type of thing, if that's helpful to anybody, and a daily happiness formula as well on my website.
Yeah, these are great resources, as our members know, to share with the Chamber and your profile. So yeah, if there's we'll follow up, Gilda, as far as letting you know more about opportunities to join the Chamber and be a part of what we do here. So anything else while we're going over? What anyone? Yeah. Oh, Mary Ellen.
I just wanted to say, yes, I did forward this to a lot of people, and
thank you.
You couldn't log in easily because I was the bad person scrolling last night going, I haven't done my committee help. I must send this out to people.
Yes, Mary Ellen, you're a bad person. Bad person.
Bad person.
No, so thank you for that. And Carrie is fabulous to have, be able to take care of folks.
I'm so glad. But wait, I did have one thing.
Only one more.
One more. I loved this session, and I kind of go with what somebody said about another one, Ronan. Maybe there could be a part 2, and we could talk about it in our health and wellness.
I was going to say that the health and wellness could maybe put out a follow-up. I love that discussion.
Yeah, something having to do with what can you do, maybe if you only have a half an hour lunch break at work or something like that.
And that might be good for this tips thing that you guys are doing for the newsletter.
Yeah,
so
just
that
a
would
thought.
be really. I don't want to mention anything, but there's just women on this call. Well, there were men earlier.
There were men.
Anyone is welcome to come join our Health and Wellness Council. We meet on the second Thursday of the month, 10:30 in person here. We also have a Zoom account available if you need to Zoom in. So again, my contact information is on the website and I put it in the chat. So reach out to me if you need any more information. But we are always looking for people to contribute to help keep our members healthy. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yep. So thank you guys. Fabulous seeing all your faces this morning. Yeah. And definitely April 26th, as I mentioned earlier, is the St. James. And for our next networking night. So we'll get a nice tour of their new facility at the town center. Yeah, and just look out for all the stuff going on at the Chamber and the newsletter. If you're not getting a newsletter, or anyone in your organization then please let Alicia know so we can make sure your email's in the system so we can get all that. They do a really great job of having a newsletter, like on the, like an email in the beginning of the week, talks about everything that's going on. So they do a really good job. Anything else from the chamber?
Thank you for hosting, Angela, and the rest of the team. You guys did great.
Thank you to our fabulous moderator, Miss Denise, and our fabulous panel, Connie, Nicole, and Monika. Monika, I know you stayed longer. Sorry, you've got like a training. I
was just going to jump
run.
off. But thank you
for
all. It's lovely to meet everybody, and thank you.
Yeah, really glad to see everybody. All right, take care.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Angela,
Thank
for
you.